Sometimes when I get bored, I play this game called How Would I Save, where I theorize about how I would change a brand or artist direction in order to keep it current or better connected with its audience. Today, I learned that Red Lobster is considering filing for bankruptcy. And that got me thinking about how I would save it. Red Lobster opened in 1968 as a casual dining restaurant. But I think I can uncontroversially say that that's not always how it's been perceived. It's actually been a running joke on social media for years now that people, especially those who grew up in poverty, which statistically speaking is most people, grew up believing that Red Lobster was a fancy restaurant. And it wasn't until they grew up and got access to adult money that they visited and realized this ain't that. And I think that's a part of the problem. The generation of people who grew up aspiring to Red Lobster are grown now, but the target audience is still the same. It also doesn't help that with the way the world has changed and the popularization of seafood on social media, there are people who don't even live in areas where fresh fish is readily available who have learned how to prepare it in a multitude of ways. And with the popularization of mukbangs, there are people on social media turning seafood every way but loose. All of that being said, I think that a lot of the things that used to set Red Lobster apart from other restaurants as one of the only places you could get seafood everywhere are not really there anymore. However, there is a chance to change that. A good way to both change the restaurant's perception and make it relevant to another audience without having to change much in terms of structure would be to change the hours. There's a huge market for it, and everyone voices online that they want it because nothing stays open anymore post-COVID. The generation that grew up with Red Lobster on their bucket list has been old enough to go to the club now for a while. Imagine with me a commercial. A girl sits at a low-lit table in a booth at her favorite restaurant in a dress that looks a little too fancy to be where she is. It appears she's wearing this because she and her best friends who sit beside her laughing and talking have all just left a party. They appear to be having a great time when a waiter with a bright smile drops by their table to deliver nothing other than a fresh batch of Cheddar Bay biscuits. Camera slowly starts panning away from the table, and you see that all the booths are full. And suddenly, you hear a voice that says, same friends, same food, different hours, endless memories. Red Lobster. See food differently. Now open until 5 a.m. Business saved, crisis averted.